I was having coffee with my office colleague Jim this morning. He owns a couple of hotels, smart operator, good businessman, solid team, and we got talking about AI. He's telling me all the ways his team is using ChatGPT. So front desk is using it to brainstorm responses for, tricky guest issues. His GM is using it to talk through operational challenges. Their revenue team is using it to pressure test pricing strategies. Marketing is using it to brainstorm campaign ideas. And honestly, I was impressed. This is real AI adoption in his business. His whole team is actually using the tools, which is more than most companies can say. But then I asked him a question. What's the next level look like for you guys? And he didn't really know because he didn't know there was a next level. So I walked him through something I've been working on called the AI implementation ladder. Now, the ladder has 3 rungs. Jim's team has nailed rung 1. That's legitimately great, but there are 2 more rungs above them, and the companies that climb those rungs are going to operate at a completely different level. So rung 1 is chat. Now, this is where Jim's team lives. This is where a lot of companies live. And honestly, they're doing it right. You talk to ChatGPT and Claude like a thinking partner. You brainstorm ideas. You talk through problems. You stress test strategies. You get a first draft of something that you can refine. Now, I do this all the time, and I'm sure you are too. I use Claude to summarize contracts, pull key points from client call transcripts, turn my messy notes on my desk into clean outlines. I use Notebook LLM from Google to dump research and articles so I can query it later. And it's like having this second brain. And this is valuable. This is real. But here's the thing, you're still doing all the work. You open the tool, you type the prompt, you read the output, you do something with it. The AI is a thinking partner, but you're still the one doing the legwork. So most people stop here. And right now, this is where Jim's team is, and not because they're lazy, but they're not really sure what the next rungs look like. So let me tell you, rung 2 is automation. This is where your systems start to talk to each other without you in the middle. So there's tools like make.com and N8N. These live here. So when X happens, Y happens. There's no human required. A new lead comes in, the CRM record is created, a welcome email is sent, it's sent to the sales rep. So this is an example of the type of automation you can create. So let's use Jim's hotel, for example. This might be a guest checking out of the hotel. A feedback request is sent. The review is posted to an internal dashboard if there's any challenges. The manager's alerted if the score is below an 8 out of 10. So I asked Jim, how does the team right now compile their weekly performance reports for each property? And he said the manager pulls data from 3 different systems every Friday afternoon. It takes about 4 hours. Now, that ops manager is doing great. She's doing important work, but it's 4 hours every week copying numbers from one place and posting them into another. That's not the best use of her brain and her time. That's a task AI and a robot should be doing while everyone else is sleeping. So she can spend Friday afternoon on something that actually needs human judgment. So at rung number 2, the rule is simple. If you did it once, never do it manually again. Now, rung 3 is agents. And this is where Jim's eyes went wide because this is where it stops feeling like a tool and starts feeling like a team member. At rung 3, you don't assign tasks, you assign the outcomes. So let me show you what this actually looks like. Not theory, but my actual week. This morning, I needed to book flights for a trip coming up. I didn't open Google Flights. I didn't go to Delta. I didn't go to Air Canada. I gave Manus, that's an AI agent, the dates, my destination, and my preferences. And it went off and did all the work for me. It opened up a browser, it searched multiple sites, and it came back to me with times and recommendations. So 10 minutes of its time, 0 of mine. I've got another trip coming up. We're going to the Masters to attend the practice round. Same thing. It figured out the best flights for us to get to Augusta, where to stay, and it did all the work for me. So here's another example. Last week, I had a file system in complete chaos. I pointed the agent at my machine and I said, I can't figure this out. I can't organize it. And then I went and made coffee and I came back to a perfectly organized system. Now, this was done with Claude's Cowork, which just came out. So this is another example of a great agent. I had an agent build me a prospect list. Find me 50 CEOs at manufacturing companies between 20 and 100 million in revenue in the Midwest. Include their revenue, the LinkedIn profile, and any recent news. And the agents go to work. They open browsers, they search LinkedIn, they pull data, and they come back with a spreadsheet an hour later and it's done. Now, here's one that really got Jim excited. This summer, for fun, while I was putzed around at the cottage, I built three apps. I don't write code. I've never written code. I didn't have a technical background, but I described what I wanted to Claude Code and it wrote the code and I tested it and I fixed the bugs and I learned a lot along the way. One of those apps is making 80 bucks a month right now. I know it's not a ton of money, but it's just out there in the world. It was just something I did for fun. I'm not retiring on it, but that's not the point. The point is I built something that would have cost me maybe tens of thousands of dollars, even up to last year. And I did it without a developer and without any coding background. I did it while I was at my cottage. The kids were fishing, we were swimming. I had my laptop on the dock. So that's rung three. You're not telling AI what to do step by step. You're telling it what you want and it figures out how to get there. So here's what I told Jim and here's what I'll tell you. Celebrate your team and rung one because that's a win. Celebrate that. Most companies are still debating whether or not to use AI at all, which is crazy. But don't stop there because the companies climbing rungs 2 and 3 are going to operate at a completely different level. The goal here isn't to replace your people. The goal is to free them from the work that doesn't need a human brain so they can focus on the work that does. So here's your move this week. Track every time you or someone on your team copies something from one place and pastes it in another. Every time someone logs into a system just to pull a report, every manual handoff that's really just moving information from point A to point B. Make a list. This list is your opportunity. Every item on it is a candidate for rung 2 for sure. And some of them are candidates for rung 3. So Jim's making that list this week, and I told him I'd help him figure out which rungs to tackle first. If you're a CEO or an owner or a president looking at your own list and realizing it's longer than you expected, and it will be, reach out. I'll walk you through how I'm helping companies move up the ladder. In most cases, we're talking a few $100 a month in tools, not a massive technology investment, just a different way of thinking about where your human time should actually go. That's your Tuesday tidbit for this week.